A fleeting moment of understanding, a gaze that lingered, and suddenly my heart began to thaw after years of silence. I'm Meredith, years old, a woman who once thought the winds beyond no longer whispered my name. On a journey to Africa under the serene embrace of quiet nights and golden sunrises, I encountered Elijah, a man whose eyes radiated profound compassion. I wasn't on a quest for romance. I simply yearned to experience life in its fullest form. Do you think that the most profound connections can emerge later in life, yet resonate more deeply than anything we've ever experienced? Stay tuned for the entire journey and let me know what you think. For in those moments, a simple remark can resonate deeply with someone seeking solace. Meredith had always believed that love was a chapter closed in her life. In a time when many sought tranquility, she found herself convinced that her heart had softly shut down, not due to sorrow, but because the passage of time had gradually dulled her yearning to grasp another's hand. 2 years prior, her beloved husband had departed this world after a prolonged battle with illness. Their farewell was soft and serene, mirroring the life they had woven together for more than 3 decades. In the absence of blame or dramatic tears, a profound stillness lingered, and within that quietude, Meredith moved forward. She settled into a cozier apartment in the suburbs. Each dawn, she prepared a steaming pot of black tea and filled the air with the sounds of her husband's cherished record, an old jazz melody that he would always play on Sunday mornings. Meredith embarked on a journey of self-sufficiency, mastering the art of grocery shopping, solo changing light bulbs with confidence, and taking on the responsibilities that were once shared by two. She cherished her autonomy, yet that very autonomy caused her to lose sight of how to rely on another. Meredith's beloved daughter, Emily, had tied the knot and embarked on a journey over 300 miles away. They maintained their connection with weekly calls, sharing lengthy conversations at times, while other moments were simply filled with a sweet goodnight message. Emily held a profound affection for her, yet an unspoken gap lingered between them, likely due to Meredith's constant facade of being okay, leaving Emily hesitant to reach out. They cherished one another, yet in the manner that resilient women often do, each believing the other is fine. And so that spring, Meredith finally took the leap she had been contemplating for years. She embarked on a solitary adventure to the destination that had long captured the imaginations of both her and her husband, a quest to uncover the wonders of Africa. Not for the thrill of adventure, but because she craved a transformation. She sought fresh landscapes to ponder the question, what is my purpose in this life? The airport hummed with life, yet Meredith found herself feeling oddly disconnected from it all. Amidst the bustling crowd of travelers, she stood out like a delicate brushstroke on a vibrant canvas, weaving her own narrative in the midst of the chaos. Amidst the bustling crowd, young travelers rushed by with their suitcases in tow, while couples strolled closely, fingers intertwined. She remained motionless in the waiting area, one hand gently placed on an aged leather bag, her gaze locked onto the window that mirrored the soft, pale gray sky. Meredith embraced solitude with open arms. What she hadn't anticipated was the sensation of being unseen, as if since her husband's departure, no one truly acknowledged her, not with their gaze, but with their essence. The journey to Kenya stretched over a long 10 hours. As Meredith embarked on her journey, she found herself immersed in the pages of an old novel, savoring her juice while exchanging polite nods with the strangers who shared her space. She maintained her distinctive elegance, with silver hair elegantly pinned up a pristine white blouse and serene, watchful eyes. Yet within a delicate tapping echoed, reminiscent of a silver spoon against fine porcelain, whispering that she had not fully released her grip upon her arrival in Africa. Meredith found herself unprepared for any extraordinary events. She yearned for a fleeting sense of renewal, a brief escape from the ordinary. In that instant, unburdened by anticipation, a gentle unfolding commenced. in the gentle embrace of Nairobi's afternoon sun, with a breeze weaving through the palm trees and the distant calls of birds. Meredith stood poised, awaiting her luggage, her silk scarf dancing softly in the air. Her posture held a quiet grace, suggesting a deep connection to this place, despite her recent arrival. And then a gentle voice whispered next to her, "Would you like a hand with that suitcase?" A tall figure, his bright eyes sparkling with intrigue, and a serene demeanor spoke in refined English, subtly infused with a hint of African rhythm. Meredith turned, taken aback by his presence, not due to his youth, but because there was an extraordinary depth in his eyes. He caught a glimpse of her. Meredith offered a gentle smile and gave a nod of understanding. Gratitude fills the air. I believe I could always welcome a touch of kindness. The following morning, Meredith rose with the dawn earlier than she typically would. The Nairobi sky glowed with a tender orange light, as if it were whispering a warm welcome from a distant place to a soul rediscovering the beauty of vulnerability. As she descended to the hotel lobby, she clutched a small notebook and the vintage camera that had once been dear to her husband. Today marked the beginning of her adventure into the wild. The Jeep rolled in precisely when expected. It was beige, softly draped in dust, a silent witness to the countless adventures it had experienced in the past. The driver emerged youthful and tall, his bright, friendly eyes sparkling with warmth. He acknowledged with a courteous nod. "Greetings, ma'am. I'm Elijah, your guide for the day." He said, his voice rich and soothing, carrying the warmth of countless moments shared with the wilderness. Meredith offered a subtle nod, as if acknowledging an unspoken tale waiting to unfold. "Greetings, I'm Meredith. It's a pleasure to connect with you." Elijah guided her into the vehicle, then shifted his attention to the other passengers, a couple from Italy, a family from Japan, and a photographer from Canada. The journey unfolded in tranquility, a serene backdrop where the only sounds were the gentle clicks of cameras and the soft roll of tires over the crimson soil. In the midst of the group, Elijah's gaze naturally drifted toward Meredith. As the others captured images of antelope racing across the horizon, he subtly made his way closer to her. "Have you ever been to Africa before?" He asked, his tone warm and inviting, as if he were eager to share a journey together. "Never," Meredith replied, her voice firm, even as a subtle quiver betrayed her resolve. "My husband had a dream of joining us, but fate never granted us that opportunity." Elijah paused, his gaze drifting toward the horizon, lost in thought. "My father passed away when I was just a child. My mother often shared that certain individuals, even after they have departed, continue to accompany us in every moment of our journey. Perhaps you continue to journey alongside him, albeit in a new manner." The unexpected words surprised Meredith, not due to their depth, but because they emerged from a young voice in a seemingly mundane moment. With a gentle smile, she gave a subtle nod. "Perhaps you have a point." That afternoon, as the group paused to catch their breath at a quaint camp nestled in the heart of the savannah, Elijah guided Meredith to a raised mound that offered a sweeping view of the vast plains. The sky glowed with a warm golden hue, while giraffes strolled leisurely beside the trees. "This is my sanctuary for reflection," Elijah shared. "I had a feeling you would appreciate it." Meredith paused, absorbing the scene before her. For a moment, it seemed as though she had entered a realm beyond her own. Silence fills the air, unburdened by the noise of conversations or the ticking of clocks. The absence of familiar faces at the table creates a space where the breeze whispers secrets and every breath feels like a new beginning. "Thank you, Elijah," she whispered gently. "There's an inexplicable sense of lightness within me." Elijah remained silent. He offered a quiet nod before settling down next to her, and together they gazed at the sun as it dipped below the horizon. Back at camp, Elijah softly inquired, "Would you care to join me and a few others for dinner under the stars?" "If you're feeling uneasy, I totally get it." Meredith paused, contemplating her next move. After years of being careful, she felt the urge to decline. But as she gazed into his face, genuine, honest, and free of any coercion, she found herself agreeing with a nod. As long as I can sit near the fire, I always feel the chill when the sun dips below the horizon. Elijah chuckled. I'll reserve the prime spot for you right by the fire's glow. That night, Meredith nestled by the fire, sharing tales with Elijah, amidst a circle of strangers who, in some inexplicable way, felt like old friends. Her laughter echoed softly, weaving together threads of the past and present, reminiscent of a cherished blanket freshly laundered and imbued with a familiar fragrance, and within her heart a tiny green sprout started to emerge. The third afternoon at the reserve unfolded in a gentle cadence, as if all around was harmonizing with the whispers of the wind and the dance of the light. Meredith found herself seated beneath the wooden awning, cradling a cup of tea that had long since lost its warmth. In the distance, the sunset began to drape the trees in golden hues, while the birdsong resonated like a familiar melody from days gone by. Elijah walked over a folding chair in one hand and a small wooden box in the other. Tonight's sunset is sure to weave a tale of colors and beauty that you won't want to miss. The sky is a canvas of clarity, and the breeze whispers like a warm greeting, he murmured as if seeking consent to step into a realm where his presence felt uncertain. Meredith beamed with joy. Your timing is always impeccable. Elijah settled next to her, maintaining a respectful space between them. As he opened the wooden box, a delicate tea set was revealed, and the warm aroma of mint leaves began to waft around us, inviting us into a moment of shared experience. There's nothing quite like sharing a late afternoon cup of tea to spark a good chat, he remarked. Meredith lifted the cup to her lips, savoring the moment before placing it gently back down, her gaze unwavering as it lingered on the distant horizon. Elijah, she started, her voice barely above a whisper. Have you ever sensed that you're navigating through two different existences, one that is visible to all, and another that resides solely within your heart? Elijah paused, lost in thought for what felt like an eternity. Indeed, he remarked, one for the task, the grins, the narratives, and one I hold within recollection's struggle, the untold tales that remain unspoken. Meredith cast her gaze in his direction. As the light dimmed, his face revealed a blend of youth and the marks of time. I once believed that solitude was the greatest sorrow, but then I came to understand that the true pain lies in not having anyone to share your experiences with. He nodded, pausing for a moment before responding. Instead, he filled their cups with more tea, creating a moment to share together. I can't quite grasp what you're holding on to, Elijah said softly, but I understand that sensation when all the noise within you subsides, and it feels as though your own voice begins to disappear. That halted Meredith not merely due to the compassion in his words, but because he had articulated something she had never voiced before. They lingered in quietude for what felt like an eternity, not in an uncomfortable way, but in that unique manner where two souls coexist without the need to fill the air with words, simply embracing the moment together. The darkness crept in gently. Elijah raised his hand, gesturing toward the stars that were starting to emerge on the horizon. As a child, my father often shared a thought with me. While you may not have the power to select your star, you do have the freedom to decide your vantage point and gaze upon it. He wore a gentle smile. Perhaps what we truly seek is a sanctuary of calm, a fleeting instant to pause and inhale deeply. Meredith turned to him, her gaze softening, and in those moments, what we truly seek is the presence of someone who can simply share the silence with us. Elijah remained silent. He gazed into her eyes and gave a subtle nod. In that instant, Meredith was transformed, letting go of fears and distances, embracing a newfound sense of adventure. She was a complex individual filled with deep emotions, past scars, and a delicate essence that had been gently approached without any form of criticism. For the first time in ages, a sense of companionship enveloped her, dispelling the solitude that had lingered for so long. As dawn broke the sky, transformed in a way that felt almost magical, arriving sooner than expected. Dark, heavy clouds gathered on the horizon, hinting that a torrential downpour was about to drench the expansive fields. Meredith stood beneath the camp's awning, her gaze following the breeze as it danced over the grasslands, which were starting to change with the season. Elijah's voice floated behind her, suggesting they should delay their drive this afternoon. His voice carried a subtle sense of ease. Meredith turned. Perhaps the heavens are simply inviting us to pause for a moment. As time passed, the rain started to pour down, relentless and thick. The camp embraced a rare quietude, as though the very essence of nature had paused to listen. Elijah emerged, cradling 2 steaming cups of ginger tea, his fingers lightly tapping on the doorframe, a soft beckoning to enter. "No sunset tonight," he remarked with a grin, "but I thought you might enjoy a chat amidst the raindrops." Meredith welcomed him into her expansive tent. They sat facing one another on humble wooden chairs, the gentle light of an oil lamp casting a warm ambiance around them. The rhythmic patter of rain on the canvas overhead created a gentle melody wrapping around the spirit like a comforting embrace. Meredith started. "You've shared tales of your father, but your mother remains a mystery." Elijah wore a gentle smile, embracing the moment without hesitation. "She left this world when I was just a child. At times, I find myself pondering whether the memories I hold are genuinely my own or merely fragments borrowed from other narratives. Yet there is one detail that stands out vividly in my mind. Her hands, though her face may have faded from my memory, the warmth of her hand in mine during my moments of fear remains vivid and alive." Meredith sensed a soft heaviness resting in her chest. Perhaps the feelings we carry with us linger far beyond the fleeting moments of our recollections. She whispered gently. Elijah gazed at her, his demeanor transformed from youthful and carefree to one of contemplation and depth. "What about your experiences? Is there a thought or feeling that lingers within you unspoken yet ever present?" Meredith gazed through the entrance of the tent. As the droplets cascaded from the sky, they whispered tales of the world below. "I once excelled at enduring," she began, her voice unwavering yet laden with weight. "I believe that true strength was enduring loss while keeping my struggles to myself. Yet I discovered that no one was aware of my pain, as I had mastered the art of concealing it." Elijah remained silent. He let his hand linger on the edge of the table, hovering near hers, a moment suspended in the air. A subtle act, one that allowed Meredith to feel acknowledged without any weight of expectation. "When I lost my husband, it felt like a chapter of my life had come to an end. I found myself without a role." She continued expressing how she had lost the very things that once made her feel significant. "People assumed I was okay, since I rarely shed tears and continued to go about my life. Yet there are forms of anguish that remain unexpressed, hidden beneath the surface. It lingers in silence, slowly sapping your vitality." Elijah lowered his head, speaking softly. "At times it seems that those who hold their tongues the longest are often the ones who yearn to be inquired about the most." The words resonated, unlocking something profound within Meredith's soul. Her lips curved upward, a genuine expression of joy lighting up her face. "Your words have a way of weaving magic." "Elijah," sometimes he responded, "yet I find myself growing all thanks to you." Outside, the rain gently eased, fading into a serene stillness. Within the confines of the tent, 2 souls shared a quiet space, unshackled and uncommitted merely. 2 spirits reconnecting in silent understanding, in the serene silence that had remained untouched for ages. The following morning, as Meredith opened her eyes, she found that the rain had ceased its gentle patter. As dawn broke, a soft glow crept over the tent, illuminating the rich hues of her earthy wool blanket, weaving a tale of warmth and comfort in the early morning light. She propped herself up, pausing for a moment, Then her fingers found the scarf resting at the foot of the bed, which she gently draped around her shoulders. After the night's storm, the air outside felt different, as if it had been touched by a gentle hand. The earth was moist beneath the foliage, clinging to glistening droplets, yet the entire campsite exuded a sense of renewal, as if it had been washed clean of a lingering weariness. Meredith stepped onto the porch, and there, as if drawn by an unspoken bond, Elijah awaited her arrival, a wooden cup resting beside him, steam rising gracefully into the crisp air. "Morning ginger lemon tea," he remarked as she emerged into the light. "On a chilly morning, you shared with me that what one truly needs is a touch of warmth and a hint of citrus." Meredith chuckled gently, her astonishment evident in her expression. "You recall the nuances? I remember well when it counts." Elijah set his eyes soft and warm, just like they were the day before. They lingered in silence, allowing the gentle breeze to play with their hair, while the scent of rain wove the earth's essence into their recollections. Meredith cradled the cup in her hands. She sensed a transformation within her, an emotion that wasn't quite love nor distinctly joy, but rather a vibrant feeling of existence, as if she were being recognized through another's gaze. "Elijah," she began after a moment of silence, "I can't quite put my finger on what this feeling is. It feels like a new chapter, something entirely unfamiliar." He took his time before responding. "I'm uncertain as well. Yet I believe not every bond requires a label." Meredith gave a slow, thoughtful nod. "It's simply that I worry I may be pursuing my dreams a bit too late in my journey. Elijah whispered gently, "I'm just concerned that we might overlook something wonderful, simply because we're preoccupied with whether it all adds up." A gentle breeze swept through, playfully tugging at the edge of Meredith's scarf. She turned to look at Elijah, the young man from a different world, many years her junior, yet gazing at her as if she were a tale recounted by a grandfather on blustery evenings beside a creaking window. Meredith placed her cup on the table and exhaled deeply. "Perhaps we simply allow it to unfold as it will." In a world where expectations fade away, two souls navigate the echoes of their past, discovering the art of tuning into their emotions once more. Elijah grinned his head, bobbing gently in agreement. "My heart is full." As they stood up, they meandered along the slender path that wound toward the expansive terrain beyond the camp, where the sun ascended, casting a warm golden glow over the parched shrubs. In the stillness of the morning, two souls moved gently alongside one another, each cradling their own solitude. They embarked on a journey not to chase away the void, but to share in the silence, finding solace in their shared presence. And sometimes, as Meredith was beginning to realize, the most enchanting aspect of a tale of love isn't discovered in flawlessness. It emerges when you invite another into a realm you've traversed in solitude for so long. A week later, Meredith found herself standing before her quaint home in Oxfordshire, her hand still cradling the fading warmth of her final handshake with Elijah. She turned to watch the taxi round the corner, its presence a whisper of a journey that had quietly transformed something profound within her, subtly without fanfare but forever. The house remained enveloped in the same stillness as it had always been. The lilac vines continued their ascent up the steps, while a fine layer of dust lingered on the desk, where she once spent countless hours, lost in thought. Yet there was a shift in the air as Meredith crossed the threshold. She felt lighter and calmer, as though she had transformed into someone entirely different from the woman who had once locked this door before her journey. She brewed a pot of tea and nestled into her well-worn armchair by the window, gazing out at the back garden, the space that had once encompassed her whole existence after her husband had gone. Now it was no longer a sanctuary. It had transformed into a chapter of a broader journey she was rediscovering. That afternoon, Meredith sat down with her laptop ready to weave a tale in a long letter to Emily. Not the brief utilitarian updates of yesteryear, but a genuine narrative. The journey to Kenya unfolded in ways I never imagined. It was more than the elephants moving gracefully across the vast savanna or the breathtaking sunrises casting a warm glow over the rich red earth. I encountered a person who guided me to rediscover my own voice, a reflective young man with a unique narrative who reminded me that bravery isn't solely measured by the distance we cover, but by our willingness to embrace our emotions once more. There was no romance, just a genuine bond that urged me to embrace my emotions or challenged me to let go of my true self. Yet there are certain bonds that come along just once in a lifetime, enabling us to release our fears and embrace a sense of gratitude. Elijah stood by embodying the essence of a genuine companion, and at times that suffices. I have finally stepped into the light within these walls. I stumbled upon something I believed was gone forever. Wonder, mindfulness in every instant, and the conviction that growing older does not diminish the spirit. She concluded the letter with a heartfelt note. Embrace life, my dear, not by the rules, but in a manner that allows your spirit to soar. The following day, she set about transforming the living room, flinging wide the windows that had been shut for far too long. She reached out to the calligraphy class she had previously delayed, believing that the art of handwriting had lost its significance. She submitted a volunteer application to the local community center. And that afternoon, rather than sipping tea by herself, she strolled to the quaint cafe on the corner where the young and the elderly exchanged books, coffee, and occasionally a fleeting glance. Elijah remained silent, and Meredith had long since come to terms with that reality. She realized that certain individuals enter our lives for a fleeting moment, not to linger, but to awaken within us the capacity to feel profoundly, reminding us of our vibrant existence. As the night drew near, Meredith reached for her phone. On the screen, a subtle message from an international number lingered, inviting curiosity. I trust that the scarf I left behind is still with you. The chill is settling in here as well. I'm embarking on the journey of launching my first company. When the time is right, I look forward to extending an invitation to you, not in a guiding role, but as a companion. Once upon a time, there was a character named Elijah. Meredith beamed with joy. She placed the phone aside, ignited a tiny candle next to her desk, and retrieved the scarf from her suitcase. The aroma lingered, a blend of the savanna breeze, the crackle of campfire embers, and the embrace of a cherished moment. It's always possible to start anew, not by reverting to your former self, but by embracing the person you have come to realize you aspire to become. We'd be eager to know your reflections after experiencing the journey of Meredith and Elijah. Have you ever embarked on an adventure that transformed your perspective? Or encountered a stranger who sparked a realization that you still possess the ability to feel and start anew? We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. What do you believe is the most important aspect of recovery after experiencing loss? An adventure, a dialogue, or just the act of listening? Your comments are important to us, and we eagerly anticipate the tales you have to share.